Welcome to our podcast on cyber conflict and international relations. Lessons learned and uncertain future. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Fahd Nabil, who is a renowned cybersecurity researcher and a cybersecurity specialist. In this episode, we will explore the fascinating intersection of cybersecurity and international relations, discussing the valuable lessons we have learned from past cyber conflicts and the challenges we face in an uncertain future. Sir, in your research, what are some notable examples of cyber conflicts that had significant repercussions on international relations, and what can we learn from them?
First of all, thank you for having me on your podcast. There have been multiple incidents. पिछले कुछ सालों में देखे Stuxnet was the prominent attack, which is everyone is familiarized with that attack, which was a joint collaboration between America and Israel, and they targeted an Iranian nuclear enrichment facility. So that was a prominent attack which international relations scholars try to study how a cyber attack had a real physical impact on Iran and how it encouraged Iran to develop its expertise in the cyber domain. So that was a prominent attack in recent past if we look on. And from there onwards, there have been multiple incidents which showcase how states have been using it as a statecraft tool, be it Russia, be it China, or be it anyone else, how they've been effectively using this as a statecraft tool.
Okay, sir. The study of cyber security feel like it is stuck in the mud. Unable to move forward, often mired in a state and unresolvable debate. What is the way out of this confusing state? When to act defensively and offensively in the cyber security domain?
So a good example of this would be the dilemma faced by Americans.
Yes.
Now, primarily there are two main reasons why Americans have not been able to retaliate against its adversaries. First is that America have never maintained a red line as to इस जगह पर अगर attack हो गया, so they will set enough in reserve, we are going to retaliate. And secondly, they have this fear that if they use one of the cyber tools or weapons from their arsenal and launch it against one of their adversary, so then one of their adversary can study their code, reverse engineer it, make the systems resilient in order to make themselves immune from that code in near future. So these are one of the two main reasons why Americans generally discourage of retaliating against these adversaries. And again, primarily the main issues is because of there is a wide gap between policymakers and those on the technical sides. Again, the policymakers are good in drafting policies, but they have less know-how about the technical expertise. On the other hand, those with a technical background are very well versed in the technical aspects of cybersecurity, but they have no knowledge or skills on to how these technologies are going to impact human lives and how it might help us in preparing new policies or strategies. So it is important that there should be a bridge of gap between the policy side and the technical side. So it is important, what I personally believe is that the policymakers should have a basic introductory level technical know-how of cybersecurity, and similarly the technical individuals with the expertise in technical side should have a basic introductory level of policy making and other regional studies, international relations studies in order to know how these technologies are impacting real human lives.
Do you, sir, really think that the cybersecurity domain has its own ideas in international relations, or this domain is replicating the ideas of other domains in the international relations?
Yes, definitely. When we try to apply the traditional IR theories which we learn in our degrees, so those theories might not help us in understanding cyber behavior of multiple countries. For example, the Relay school of thought believes that it is it's an extension of the physical rivalries. Again, if Pakistan India has a physical rivalry, so that is manifested in the cyber domain. On the other hand, the liberal school of thought believes it is not a battlefield, but rather it's a medium, is the way where exchange of ideas and information occurs. On the other hand, constructive school of thought believes it is neither a battlefield nor a marketplace, it is what we construct of it ourselves. So again, these traditional theories might not help us in having a better understanding. So again, what IR scholars now do, and again those with the technical background, they come up with different conceptual frameworks and theoretical frameworks in order to examine, based on the past behaviors of multiple countries, how to help us in understanding the evolving behaviors of nation states as well as non-state actors in the cyber domain.
So this question has already been discussed, but I want to emphasize again because there's a big issue in Pakistan that in Pakistan we are not taking interdisciplinary research. There's a big gap in between the policy makers from the social science perspective, while the technical background that cyber security specialists. So how to bridge this gap?
Again, when it comes to Pakistan, there are people who are well versed in technical side of in Pakistan. There are people, again, there are institutions which train people to develop the expertise on the technical side of cybersecurity. But again, from a social science perspective, there are near to nothing in Pakistan as to how to train individuals in order to encourage them to understand this cybersecurity is an interdisciplinary field. It is no more a field where people with IT background can only have their say. It is an interdisciplinary field where people from law background, psychology background, international relations, strategic studies have their input, valuable input to give to us to how we should understand, and this is reflected in our policies and strategies as to how there is, again, either we have policies which are very generalized or either it is adapted largely from other policies or strategies from different countries.
So as you say that for people from law background can also get in this domain, sir, what do international law say about the cyber security domain as we are focusing on international relations?
When it comes to international law, there is only generally one treaty, that is the Budapest Convention, and it is primarily focused on cyber crimes. And again, there are around 35 signatories of that convention. So again, Pakistan is generally not a member of this convention because there is apprehension primarily from our intelligence agencies as to we should not be sharing our, because there is a section under Budapest Convention of intelligence sharing. So again, Pakistani intelligence agency have this viewpoint that we should not be sharing our intelligence with a country which we does not recognize. And there is also this apprehension going on in our policy circles that India might in future join this Budapest Convention. So again, apart from the Budapest Convention, there are certain norms which countries have agreed upon, but again, when it comes to implementation of those norms, again, we does not have a proper mechanism as to that. And one of the primary reasons why countries largely have not come up to agreement on international level when it comes to cybersecurity, as we have seen in public health or outer space, is because the permanent 5 members of United Nations Security Council are primarily the main obstacle. They does not want international law to develop in the true sense, because if you look upon the cyber behavior of countries, these 5 countries are major players in the cyber domain, and they are both aggressor and at times victims of cyber attacks. So they does not want international law to be developed, because if international law develop, a sanction regime comes into place, so these countries will be the first to become sanctioned under these regimes.
So we have seen in the recent past that India has a huge collaboration with Israel in the cyber domain, in the IT domain. India is much more stronger than Pakistan when it comes to IT. So do you think that policymakers of Pakistan are ready, or they are taking measures to contain India in this domain, in the IT sector or the cyber security domain?
India's collaboration in the cyber domain is not only restricted with Israel, it has collaboration with multiple Western countries. So again, when we look upon, based on open source data as to Pakistan, India, who countries perform better in the cyber domains among multiple indicators. So it is clear India is the better country when it comes to comparing Pakistan. Again, there is, I guess, there might be some realization at the top level as to how we might, but again, when we look upon this thing at the level of policy making, strategy making, and how we are generating our human resource, training our human resource, so we find we are still very lag very behind in ever coming to counter Indian threat, be it in the information domain or be in the cyber warfare domain.
So there is another question which is very important, and that is, what are the key challenges and uncertainties we face in the future when it comes to cyber conflict and its implication for international relations?
Again, cyber domain is an evolving domain. What we have been studying based on the insights which we are able to develop new theoretical frameworks or conceptual framework is based on the past 20-25 years behavior of states and non-state actors in the cyber domain. So again, we does not know how things might evolve in next decade or two as to how it evolves. So again, it's an evolving field, and we can only make certain assumptions or predictions about that. But again, we have to take this, and we have to take in this understanding that again, these future predictions might not also turn out to be correct.
Sir, how much is Pakistan military taking measures to set up the already their measures in the cyber security?
Again, last year Pakistan Army formed its own cyber command. Again, but it is important to know that if we truly want the army to contribute in the cyber defense of the country, they need to take on board people from technical background, and they need to come up with a new promotion pathway. This is my personal idea. There should be a new promotion pathway in order to speed up these people in the top ranks of army, in order to give their output to the decision making of the army structure as to how Pakistan can be secure from different threats originating from different countries.
Sir, how do state actors and non-state actors engage in the cyber conflict, and how does this dynamic shape the landscape of international relations?
Again, states generally there are multiple objectives which every state try to pursue in the cyber domain. They might be doing it for domestic surveillance, or they might be involving themselves in cyber espionage, or again they might be trying to target certain entities in order to collect state secrets from their adversaries. Similarly, non-state actors include use cyber domain for multiple purposes in order to disseminate their propaganda, in order to recruit individuals, in order to generate funds using cyberspace. So there are multiple ways through which non-state actors and state actors utilize cyberspace.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insight, for sharing your research, and for sharing your findings. As we wrap up this episode, it is clear that cyber security conflict has become an integral part of the international relation landscape. The lesson learned from the past, highlighting the need for robust cyber security measures, cooperating among nations, and a comprehensive understanding of the evolving threat landscape. Thank you.